What's up everyone, my name is Ale. Welcome back to my world of stocks. So as you guys know, a Dividend King is a stock that has increased their dividend payment every single year for at least 50 years in a row. It's a massive growth history, and it's really a show of strength and dedication from management to paying out consistent dividends over a very long period of time. And it's one of the reasons why these are some of the most popular stocks among dividend investors. And so what I want to do for you guys is I want to give you my really quick opinion on every single Dividend King stock in the market and also rank each one of them as either really good, above average, average, below average, or really bad. And it'll be based on the business, the stock, of course the dividend, and also in relation to each other. So maybe we end up finding some hidden gems here that are actually worth investing in. And of course, as always, I'll let you know if I'm buying any of these stocks myself too. The only problem though is that there are around 40 different Dividend King stocks in the market right now. So to keep the video at a reasonable length, I'm gonna have to separate it into 4 different videos covering around 10 stocks in each one of them. So today will be part 1, and we're going to do stocks 1 through 10. And then in parts 2, 3, and 4, we'll cover the remaining stocks with 10 stocks in each of those videos. Now, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hit the like button if you do, because it really helps support the channel. But we got a lot to cover here, so let's just go ahead and dive straight into this. I'm going to do it very rapid fire, running through these stocks quickly, giving you my opinion and ranking them and letting you know if I'm buying them or anything else. And we'll go ahead and do this in the order of dividend growth history from smallest to largest. But again, all of these are at least 50 years of consecutive growth. Let's dive in. Okay, so starting with stock number 1, we're kicking things off here with a banger in AbbVie, ticker symbol ABBV, who is a biopharmaceutical company that I actually own myself, and one that has a dividend growth history of exactly 50 years in a row when you include the spinoff from About Laboratories. By the way, I'll be using screenshots from Seeking Alpha, and they sometimes get the years wrong, or they might even be delayed by a year right now here in 2022. So just know that the history for this one in particular is wrong, and if it is in any other ones, I'm going to go ahead and write the correct number in red, just like I did right here. Okay, now despite that massive history, AbbVie's dividend is absolutely fantastic for growth, as it not only carries an already very high yield of about 3.5%, but it is also carrying a low payout ratio below 50% and a super nice growth rate of close to 20%. Those are really nice growth metrics on that dividend. Unfortunately, the stock is trading near an all-time high right now, so it's not very cheap, but they have a solid business with strong financials and a giant pipeline for future drugs and treatments that are in development. And so I would say that the growth-oriented dividend alone makes this a really good Dividend King stock to own long-term. But there's other reasons why I like it too, and that's just where I'm putting it. It's a stock that I own myself, and I do like it. Okay, now for stock number 2, we've got the company that AbbVie was spun off from, which is known as About Laboratories, who is a specialist, by the way, ticker symbol ABT, and they are a specialist in pharmaceutical, nutrition, diagnostic, and medical device products. Now, the stock dipped recently as it now sits in the lower half of its 52-week range, but like AbbVie, it's still up quite a bit over the past 5 years at close to 200%, in large part thanks to the pandemic, where About gained notoriety for their work in rapid testing, which helped boost their sales. You guys might have seen all those commercials and different announcements about rapid testing. A lot of times those were About laboratory tests that they were using or advertising. Anyway, typically financials are stable on both the top and bottom line, but growth tends to be in the low single digits until the pandemic boosted them by 8% in 2020 and then a very nice 25% in 2021. But they are now correcting back down to -5% this year and then returning to low single digits next year as well. At least that's what's expected. Overall, though, it's a good play on testing with reliable financials and a solid growth-oriented dividend of a 1.5% yield, a low payout ratio below 35%, and a double-digit growth rate with 50 years of growth including the AbbVie spinoff. I think it's a solid long-term play on testing and other medical needs that are unlikely to ever go away, but I personally wouldn't buy it yet until the price drops more, just because the dividend is a bit small right here in terms of the yield, and the company isn't exactly that exciting or high growth enough to make me need to own it right away. It's got some pros, it's got some cons, but overall, I would rank them as average at these current prices. Now, stock number 3, that's going to be Becton Dickinson and Company, ticker symbol BDX, which is another medical technology company specifically involved in the development and manufacturing and sale of medical devices, equipment, and supplies that are used by laboratories and doctors and pharmaceutical companies. Currently, they hold almost 30,000 active patents. They operate in close to 200 different countries, and they make over 45 billion medical devices per year. Financially, those sales can jump around at times, with 2020 and 2022 both being negative growth years, which is why the stock looks so volatile when you pull up their chart. And for that reason alone, I would rather buy them when the stock is on a large dip rather than one of their peaks, since the dividend is pretty low right now at just a 1.3% yield at these levels, and its growth rate is still only about 4%. I'm personally not excited at all for this stock. I think they're kind of boring, and the dividend isn't large enough or high growth enough either way to make up for it, so I'm putting them in the below average category. I'm even tempted to rank them as really bad, but I think below average is a slightly better fit for now. Okay, now moving on to dividend king number 4, we've got Black Hills Corporation, ticker symbol BKH, who is an energy and utilities company, which those generally don't really attract me very much because of their low growth, and I tend to only like a few renewable energy plays, as I just think that that's where the market is going to see most of the growth over the longer term. But to be fair to Black Hills, they have been investing more in renewables lately, as since 2005, I should say, they've been able to reduce their greenhouse emissions by around 30% up to this year. But they're still heavily reliant on coal mining and gas, and I just don't think the stock is cheap enough to make up for the single-digit EPS and dividend growth rates that utilities typically experience, with Black Hills being no exception to that. The stock is also very volatile and cyclical, which is not what I would expect to see from a boring utility. So given that it's currently on one of the upswings, trading close to an all-time high, and still only up less than 20% over the past 5 years, despite trading, close to an all-time high, I just think this is a very slow-moving cyclical stock that is not typically worth owning. However, the dividend might be enough to attract some income-focused dividend investors because of the reliable profits from utilities and the 3% plus yield with 50 years of growth. With inflation as high as it is, though, I just don't think that the dividend is going to be enough to make up for the other cons, and for that reason, I'm going to rank them as below average. It's just, it could be close to an average. I could see some people wanting to own it, but I think just below average for me personally, because I'm just really not that interested in it. Okay, now rounding off the first 5 stocks, we've got at number 5 here, we've got W.W. Grainger, ticker symbol GWW, who sells millions of different industrial maintenance, repair, and operating products. It's actually a pretty cool business. I could see how it's useful, and I don't really think it's something that'll go away, at least not anytime soon. And that's helped them generate some pretty stable financials over the years. And that's even been the case through the pandemic, where businesses were forced to close down, which you would really think that this would be something that destroys Grainger's business, but not only did sales actually increase during that time, but they also grew by 10% in the year following 2020 and are still expected to do the same this year and another 7% next year too. That's pretty damn impressive. Now, unfortunately, the stock already reflects that strong performance, as it's up over 150% in the past 5 years and currently trades close to an all-time high, which leaves the dividend yield pretty low at just around 1.3%. The growth history of 50 years and the low payout ratio tells me that dividend is definitely safe long term, but the growth rate is pretty low at just around 5%. So you're not likely to get much higher of a yield unless you wait for the stock to dip back down. And for that reason, I just think that a lot of the gains have mostly already been had with this type of stock, and I'm going to have to rank them as average as a result of that. I like them for some reasons, but again, the stock price is just too high at these levels. So for that reason, I rank them as average. Okay, now moving on to stock number 6, we've got Kimberly-Clark, ticker symbol KMB, who you may have not heard of through just their company name alone, but they own some very popular consumer staple brands like Scott, Cottonelle, Kleenex, Huggies diapers, and more. As a result, financials are typically stable, and that was even the case through the pandemic, but growth is usually on the very low side, with only around 2% expected both this year and the next. The stock is also not as stable as their financials, as it's actually down about 5% in the past 5 years, and currently sits in the bottom half of its 52-week range. On the bright side, their dividend yield is now above 3.7% thanks to that lower stock price, but the payout ratio is pretty high at above 70%, and the growth rate is pretty low, below 5%. So I just don't think that it's going to grow very much in the future. The business is pretty boring without much innovation. I've never really seen much innovation from this company. The stock price itself is also very volatile, and the dividend is not likely to grow much. I mean, it's not a horrible dividend stock, especially considering the high yield. So if you're looking for income, I could see why maybe you want to own it. But, with inflation as high as it is, how much are you really getting out of that dividend? And with the stock price that doesn't really perform well over many years, I just think that there are better options out there. So for that reason, I'm going to have to rank them as below average. It's definitely very close to being average, but I'm going to put them as below average for now. Okay, now moving on to stock number 7, we've got Leggett & Platt, ticker symbol LEG, LEG, who manufactures and sells various furniture and different components for homes, offices, automobiles, and even commercial aircraft. This includes bedding, flooring, furniture, textiles, fabrics, and various other parts and components that are related to those areas. Now, financials are typically good in these markets, but they can also be heavily influenced by the macroeconomy, just because spending on all of those types of things tends to get cut during economic downturns, which was no exception during the 2020 recession, where their sales crashed by over 10%. That's a pretty big hit. Now, the following year, they did see a large recovery, but the next 2 years are expected to drop back down to the low single-digit growth range. And it's hard for me to be optimistic about the near-term kind of future, considering how bad our economy is looking right now, and with how high inflation is also getting. I just think that's going to weigh on their business. However, the positives are that they have a monstrous dividend of about 4.7%, which is, that's pretty high. And they also have the 50 years of growth to back that up. It's not likely to grow much in terms of the dividend, but with the stock as low as it is right now, having dropped almost 40% from its highs, that dividend yield is probably as high as you're going to get it right now. I don't really like them for my own portfolio, but my gut tells me that this stock might be oversold at these levels. That's kind of what my initial analysis is telling me, that it might be oversold. So I'm going to be extra generous with this one and rank them as average, even though my brain tells me that I should probably rank it lower. But my gut is telling me put it as average because it might be oversold here, and the dividend is at some decently high levels here. Probably the best you're going to get it. Okay, now going into the final 3 stocks for today's video, we're coming in here to number 8, and that is a stock that I actually own myself too, and that stock is PepsiCo, ticker symbol PEP, who I really enjoyed owning them over the years. They have a fantastic business with iconic brands like Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Doritos, Lipton, Cheetos, Lay's, Quaker Oats, and even some newer high growth brands like Bubbly, SodaStream, and Naked Juice. As a result, and by the way, they also own, they also own Gatorade, they own Aquafina. I mean, the list goes on. They own a ton of different brands. But as a result, their sales actually increased during the 2020 recession by 5% because of those very strong consumer staple brands. And then they also skyrocketed by another 13% in 2021, even when the lockdowns were mostly ending. And the growth will still continue even after that, although it's going to be in the lower single digits. But with strong sales, strong profits, the stock always, trends upward for the most part, even through dips. All of those dips have really been great buying opportunities over the years, and the dividend yield is still above 2.5%, even after having been grown for 50 years in a row. I just think that this is a really solid all-around dividend stock for the long term. The growth is low, and that's my biggest critique, along with the stock trading near an all-time high right now. So I think it's better to buy this one on a dip whenever you can get it. But the business is so large and pretty well diversified that I just think they should be treated as above average overall. I might be a little biased in saying that because I do own the stock myself, but at these levels, I would say that I would agree with an average ranking as well, but I'm still going to put them above average just because I personally do really enjoy owning this stock, and I've always had nothing but good things to say about it. Okay, now stock number 9, we've got PPG Industries, ticker symbol PPG, who specializes in paints, coatings, and specialty materials. And that's across several different areas like aerospace, marine, automotive, industrial, and many others. It's not a bad business, but it's certainly a volatile one, as sales declined in both 2019 and in 2020 before recovering in 2021 by a large amount, but that growth is already starting to slow down again through this year and the next. The result is a volatile stock to go along with that, that is only up by less than 25% in the past 5 years. Normally, I'd be okay with that poor performance because it leaves more room to the upside, but that's only if I'm actually excited about their future business prospects or if the dividend is really high as a result of the lower stock price. However, that's not the case with either one. I think their business is heavily reliant on the economy, which I'm not super optimistic about right now, and the dividend yield is pretty small at less than 2%, even with the struggling stock price, and it's also just got a single-digit growth rate to go along with it. So it's not super attractive from either an income or even also a growth perspective. It's not really attractive from either one. And with inflation as high as it is, I'm just not sure that you're going to get very good returns from the stock price or from the dividends. So I'm going to rank them as below average. I'm just not that crazy about this one. Okay, finally at stock number 10, we've got Universal Corporation, ticker symbol UVV, who sources, collects, and processes tobacco and then sells it to other businesses that turn it into consumer products. They claim to be the global tobacco leaf supplier operating in over 30 different countries, but in my opinion, the business is pretty boring with relatively small sales and profits that don't seem to grow by much either. So, as an already global leader, I just wonder how much growth there is to be had here. 2020 was a big down year for them, and even after the rebound in 2021, their sales and profits were still lower than they were all the way back in 2018. On top of that, the stock doesn't seem to be very popular since there are 0 analysts covering it on Yahoo Finance, which, by the way, also makes it even more difficult for me personally to properly analyze this stock. It's always a little difficult when you're researching a stock and you can't get a lot of analyst coverage to get more information on it. Now, speaking about the stock itself, the stock price has been pretty shady over time as it's currently trading at a 52-week high, but it's still down almost 20% over the past 5 years despite trading at a 52-week high. The saving grace is the dividend with 50 years of consecutive growth and a monstrous yield of over 5%, but that almost looks like a dividend trap to me just because of how poorly the stock performs along with its financials. Overall, I gotta say that I would never really touch this stock myself because it's too boring, it's too low growth, it doesn't get much coverage, and my gut overall tells me that it's probably a dividend trap. So for those reasons, I'm actually gonna rank them pretty low here. I might be a little mean with this one because I haven't put anything in the really bad category yet and I want to put something there, but that's where I'm going to put them. I'm going to put them in the ranking of really bad. You know, if I'm comparing it to the other stocks on today's list, this is the one that I like the least out of all of them. But that does it, guys, for part 1. We went through stocks number 1 through number 10. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below, do you either own or would you consider ever owning any of these stocks on today's list? I'd love to hear your opinions on them. We've got some heavy hitters coming up in parts 2, 3, and 4, so make sure you stay tuned for those. Part 2 will be coming up next, but I hope you're all doing well out there. I will catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.